All right, let's jump right in. We're about to explore a seriously transformative period in world history. Between 1300 and 1600, while Europe was having its own major shakeups, the Islamic world wasn't just sitting still. It was giving rise to three massive empires that would go on to shape, well, pretty much everything.
But here's the thing. This incredible rebirth didn't just happen out of the blue. Nope. It came from a time of absolute chaos and destruction, which really makes you wonder, right? When an entire world gets shattered, what's going to rise up from the ashes?
It all kicks off with total devastation. Back in the 1200s, you had the Mongol invasions, led by guys like Genghis Khan, just tearing across Asia. But all that destruction, it created this huge power vacuum. And it was right out of that chaos that brand new powers started to claw their way up, one by one, literally forging a new world.
I mean, think about it. The Mongol conquests totally upended everything. They wrecked trade routes, sacked ancient cities. They brought so much hardship. But, and this is the key, that exact disruption is what cleared the path for new dynasties to plant their roots and grow, eventually leading to three powerful rival centers of culture.
So let's start with the first, and you could definitely argue the most dominant of these new empires, the Ottomans. These guys were an absolute juggernaut. For centuries, they were the force to be reckoned with, shaping the future of not one, not two, but three continents.
So, who exactly were the Ottomans? Well, the name comes from their founder, a leader named Osman. He started out with just a small nomadic Turkish group in Anatolia, what we now call Turkey. And from those incredibly humble beginnings in the late 1200s, his followers built an empire that would last for over 600 years. It's just wild.
And just get a load of the sheer scale of their power at its peak. We're not talking about some regional kingdom here. The Ottoman Empire was a global force. It controlled all these vital trade routes and territories that today make up dozens of different countries across Europe, Africa, and Asia. It was, quite literally, the crossroads of the world. Every great empire has that one legendary ruler, right? For the Ottomans, it was Sultan Suleiman I. His power, his wealth, his influence, it was so immense that even his rivals in Europe, who he was constantly at war with, had a special name for him. They called him the Magnificent. So what makes a guy magnificent? Well, for starters, he was a military genius, pushing the empire's borders to their absolute greatest extent. But he was so much more than just a conqueror. He was a lawmaker, creating this incredibly detailed legal code that organized the entire state. You combine that with a golden age of art and architecture, and yeah, Magnificent pretty much nails it. Okay, now let's shift gears and look east, to the Ottomans' greatest rival. Right in the heartland of ancient Persia, a totally new power was on the rise, the Safavid Empire. And this rivalry, it wasn't just about land or who controlled the trade routes. It was a deep, deep religious conflict that, believe it or not, still echoes today. You see, the Ottomans were the champions of Sunni Islam. The Safavids, they were fiercely Shia. This whole division really boils down to who they believe should have succeeded the Prophet Muhammad. And that one fundamental difference, it fueled centuries of war and competition between these two titans. This decision by their founder, Shah Ismail, to establish Shia Islam as the state religion, it was a game changer. It basically created a distinct Persian identity that made them stand out from all their powerful Sunni neighbors. It was a bold move that drew a religious line in the sand, and that line still shapes the politics of the Middle East today. And under leaders like Shah Abbas the Great, the empire bloomed into this incredible center for art and trade. Its capital, Isfahan, was known as one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world. All right, time to travel to our third and final empire, which popped up on the Indian subcontinent. Get ready for the Mughal Empire, a dynasty that became famous for its jaw-dropping wealth, its stunning art, and a pretty unique way of ruling. One of the things that really defined the Mughal Empire, especially under its greatest ruler, a guy named Akbar, was this incredible policy of tolerance. Akbar didn't just allow other religions, he actively encouraged dialogue between them. We're talking Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, you name it. He even put non-Muslims in some of the highest positions in his government, which was a brilliant move that helped keep his massive empire stable. Okay, now I want you to just look at this date. Just this one year, 1653. What on earth could have happened in this one year that was so important it's still famous hundreds of years later? That was the year the Taj Mahal was finished. It was built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan.
And it's not a palace, it's a tomb, a magnificent final resting place for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal. To this day, it stands as the ultimate symbol of Mughal genius in art and architecture. Just an absolute masterpiece.
So why are we talking about all this? Why does it still matter? Because the legacies of these three empires, the Ottomans, the Safavids, and the Mughals, they're not just ancient history. They are woven directly into the fabric of our world today, from politics and religion to art and culture.
So let's do a quick recap. You had the Ottomans, under Suleiman, who gave us these advanced law codes and spread Sunni influence. Then the Safavids, who forged the modern Shia identity of Iran. And finally, the Mughals, under Akbar, who left behind a legacy of incredible architecture and cultural blending in India. Three totally distinct empires, three powerful, lasting legacies. Which leaves us with one last thing to think about. For centuries, these three incredible powers existed in this delicate and, yeah, often very violent balance. But just imagine for a second, what would our world look like today? Our maps, our religions, our cultures, if one of these titans had actually managed to conquer the other two? Something to think about.